Hey everyone, you have reached the landing, OnePlanet's weekly meeting place for the entire Polygon NFT community. Every week at this time, you will learn more about the Polygon network, its native token Matic, and discuss the wonderful world of NFTs with some of the best and brightest minds from the NFT universe. And now, here's your host.
Planet's the place to be to showcase your NFTs. Best blockchain is Polygon. OnePlanet want to be on, yeah.
What's going on, Dave and Tony? How's your day going?
It's getting late over here, but it's going well. It's been a good day. How's your day been?
Yeah, my day's been pretty good. Just kind of the first, I would say, like 3 to 4 hours of my day is catching up with just what's happened in the last 12 hours in the ecosystem, right? So just checking in with OnePlanet and where the progress is with the projects in our pipeline, like with the launchpad. The next one we'll be having is going to be on March 20th. So just getting all the marketing set up for them. And then, just checking in. Well, what's new? What's the biggest news? One of my like routines has been listening in to the NFT show from the Nifty Portal team. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but they make it fun, it's entertaining, and they actually do cover the news. But that's mostly on ETH. But I think it's important for us to still be aware of what the bigger brands are doing within the ecosystem. How are you doing, Tony?
Hey, Edwin, I'm doing very well. It's been a great day, and looking forward to the space tonight. Arkadia was in the space a little bit earlier, and I'm looking forward to hearing what they're going to share. And always good to see Ghost and other Stoned Island, Big Papa. Yeah, looking for Berserker. Good to hear from. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of them.
Yeah, definitely. Arcadia, how are you guys doing?
So fam, to be honest, like I'm super pumped right now. Just hopped over space, then hop in a call, and then now in this space. Like it's crazy. Things have been crazy, and like we're super excited to share them and to have this chat. Definitely.
Yeah, man, I'm also excited to dive deeper into the marketing that you guys have been doing for the past 3 months, right? Since January, you guys started to really push to get the word out for the ritual and then the new Arcadian. So definitely excited to learn more about that. Ghost, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Doing how are the rest of my brothers doing?
Yeah, it seems like so far everybody's been busy, as always. So yeah, this space never sleeps. Shout out to Dave as well for getting to 30K on Twitter. I think that would be a topic that we can dive a little bit deeper into in regard to marketing strategies, right? But to get us started, Matic, man, do you want to get us going with the music here?
Hey everyone, you have reached the landing, OnePlanet's weekly meeting place for the entire Polygon NFT community. Every week at this time, you will learn more about the Polygon network, its native token Matic, and discuss the wonderful world of NFTs with some of the best and brightest minds from the NFT universe. And now, here's your host.
Planet's the place to be to showcase your NFTs. Best blockchain is Polygon. OnePlanet want to be on, yeah.
All right, thank you for that. appreciate the music there, customized to get us going for this specific show. And today, Dave, thank you. Just wanted to give you a shout out for stepping in and covering for Narb. He's usually part of the crew here, but he had some in real life stuff to take care of today. So just thank you for stepping in. But I think you'll be somebody good for the topic that we have in specific today. I did want to start with the segment that we have with Ghost here to get us started with the OnePlanet Marketplace statistics. What do you have for us today, Ghost?
All right. So the past week, it's been a week on fire for Derby Stars. Derby Stars landed in the first and third spot for the week. About 16K Matic just for the horses alone, as people are jockeying, trying to find that horse that best suits their needs. And during the current competitions throughout the day, we have Hellcats number 2 spot, 14.83% increase in floor price. And the topic for today I want to mention is the starter packs. The starter packs from Derby Stars. It was a free mint. It was an airdrop from random boxes. The week before, they were going about 5 Matic. I saw floor price shoot up to 60 last week to about 150 a sale, and then some of them hovering around 500 Matic for a free mint. So kudos to the ones that held off on those. We have Hellhounds at 4 spot, 22% increase in floor price. And then my Trippy Wolves, my Familia, came in 5th spot with a nice increase of 3% floor price. And going on with the topic that we have today for marketing strategies, we have combined the group of powerful Polygon NFT communities, similar to Crew 3 and Galaxy. We're trying to bridge between NFT communities and DeFi. And the first one up is DeFi Wallet. We have a contest going on right now. See who has a top engagement community. Just follow a few tasks. I'm going to link up. Oh, there you go. It's up at the top. It's 2,500 USD up for grabs for the top community. You get bonus points for memes. So those meme masters, now's your time.
And you guys have a lot of those meme masters in your community, so I expect to see good things coming from the Rekt Gang.
Yeah, well, right now it's kind of quiet. Once it comes to the deadline, you'll see those rapid fires going down.
Yeah, so thanks for sharing that, man. And yeah, I think it's always exciting to see the events that take place, and especially the ones where there are a lot of communities being brought together in a competitive and fun way, right? So, for example, that one that you mentioned with XDeFi and the NFT Quest, there's multiple NFT communities coming in together. And the interesting part is that a lot of the NFT holders are in multiple communities as well, right? They're holders of the same collections. And so kind of seeing where they decide to contribute, like what project they decide to contribute. I think it's interesting to watch. But in general, just being able to keep the space moving forward with some fun, right? At the end of the day, just remembering that this space, although it is financial, it's also supposed to be something that's fun, something that we can enjoy and have a laugh at. And so I think you guys are doing a good job of putting these events together.
Yeah, and it brings an additional awareness to these DeFi protocols that it's just tailored to a certain type of community and user, and tying the two together. It's a bonus for both the NFT communities and the DeFi protocols. DeFi protocol gets new eyes, new users potentially, and then the NFT communities can also see other communities and ways that they can make a short buck or so.
Yeah, exactly. I do think the inclusiveness, right, of NFT projects and DeFi projects getting together and making these environments where you can talk about both. And even though there is some competitiveness going on there, you're still trying to just push the space forward and introducing people to new projects. And with DeFi, I mean, there's so much going on there too with the growth that they're producing with new products, new derivatives, and all that. So cool. Well, thanks for sharing that, Ghost. And yeah, Derby Stars has been on fire recently. As you mentioned, the starter packs, their floor price has risen a lot due to needing to have those food supplies such as carrots and cherries, and also the carrot token that it has inside in order to breed your horses. So people have obviously been able to figure out strategies in the game to benefit, right? To essentially produce free NFTs, because those when you breed horses, you'll get an NFT that you'll be able to sell once it grows up into a horse. So it's been interesting to see that. And from a marketing perspective, that's where we see the best strategies are based on just producing something like a game, right? Where that does the marketing for you. You just kind of have to provide some continuous storylines to the game and gameplay footage. I know Derby Stars is doing like patches as well, listening to their community for feedback. And so that's obviously a good marketing strategy there. But to keep moving, Dave, I wanted to start with you, man. Just a question for you. Again, shout out for getting to 30K. And I'm curious about, maybe just one thing that you can share with us in the last, year, 2 years that you've been a content creator for Twitter, right? And the NFT ecosystem in Polygon. What do you think has been one thing that has helped you grow as much as you've grown so far?
I'm going to throw two things your way because I think it's it's been in two different kind of markets. And thank you very much. Almost 18 months to the day from like turning my old Twitter account into something to try and push for community growth in general. Hosting spaces when we were at the end of the NFT bull market was massive. Like my account grew ridiculously fast just by moving around spaces, and then to sort of keep it growing through the bear market's been being adaptable and flexible with my content and not just doing the same thing repeatedly, not buying into a trader philosophy or a DGen philosophy or a life coach philosophy, but like kind of just being myself as much as possible and making that content genuine and from the heart. And putting some of that into longer format, so people have got the additional buy-in if they want it. That's been the sort of key, and consistency. Twitter's all about consistency, and yeah. So thank you. They'd be the big things that I've done repeatedly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely see your point there, because I think one thing that I've noticed with you is that you do humanize yourself in Twitter as well, right? You dox yourself and you share a lot about your life, in real life, right? And so I think that comes off more genuine, right? You're being authentic, and people have a better understanding of who you are, and a more emotional just kind of relationship with you, right? Because it's not just a PFP project, or you're not just being repetitive with the same kind of DGen strategy as you mentioned, or just kind of following the same format that others are doing. You're kind of going your own way, and I think that says a lot. And I'm sure that is one of the reasons why you've grown as much as you have. In the same kind of question, Matic man, I did want to pass it on to you, because I know you've also grown your account a lot. And in general, I think Twitter followers is just one number, right? It's not the most important number, but it definitely does show consistency and how much people are paying attention to your content, right? So, Dave, I don't know if you wanted to add to that. But Matic.
Sorry, I did not mean to unmic.
Yeah,
Okay.
Edwin. Yeah, I'll just jump in here. Dave hit the nail on the head, like consistency. And I was in a space with someone in our ecosystem a few days ago, and they mentioned like they were afraid to miss one day of posting, tweeting, because they felt like they would get so far behind, or someone would grab their spot. I don't really view it that way, because I have the advice that Narb gave me, and I see it fleshed out in Dave's life and what he does for Twitter and for Polygon, just adding value to the community. I try to post every day. Some days I have more bandwidth than others, but just trying to be consistent, trying to be genuine. I think if people know that you're genuine, that you're not out for yourself, uh, then gradually you'll build. I think it's all about your motives, really, Edwin. And I think people that want to add value to the space, there'll be people that gravitate towards it. You know, I was in a space. Was it yesterday? Some of you may have been in the space, um, and I love the guy that's hosting it. No shade on him at all, but he was wanting me to. You know, I, I'm not like one who like curses a lot, and I'm not. If you do, it's fine. That's no problem with me. That's just not me. He was wanting me to talk about our crypto crew project, and at the end, he said, "You're just too nice. You're too nice, and if you're gonna mint out your project, you got to be mean. You got to tell people I'm supporting your project, and you're not supporting mine. What's wrong with?" But he wanted me to like to anyway. That's just not me. I just think you have to be yourself. Dave touched on that as well. As you're building a brand, I just think it's all about um, adding value to the space, being yourself, being consistent, putting in the work, and just really trying to help others, and it'll all come back around to you in the end, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think it's important to not put all the attention on yourself, right? Because I think that when people do see that and feel that, it does kind of push them away, because there's so many other people out there that are just providing value without any expectation of anything in return. And if you are the one that's doing that, I feel like you're not going to have a organic growth there, right? People are not going to want to attach themselves to something like that. At least that's been my experience as well, where when you are constantly giving out things, or providing value, as you said, it just the relationship there makes it easier, because people feel like they're gaining from listening to you, as opposed to just feeling maybe drained from constantly being asked to do things. But yeah, I think those are really good points. Moving with Arcadia here, Vic, I did want to just dive a bit deeper first into Arcadia. If you can give us an overview of what you guys are creating, and then going over your marketing that you've been doing since the beginning of this year. I really feel like you and your team have created a whole plan, and it seems very organized and also very authentic, right? Like you guys are trying to provide value to the community with storytelling, and creating an emotional relationship with the people that are interested in Arcadia Park. So, yeah, man, can you give us some details into that?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for the kind words, man. So yeah, just to start with it, Arcadia is the first theme park powered by blockchain. And why we've actually been building it is that, I mean, one of the reasons why we started building it is that we saw that there is this big problem in the industry, right? That there is a big gap between the NFT communities. So actually, when you're buying an NFT, you're somehow joining that community, and it's really hard for you to get out of it, right? Or interact with other communities if you don't buy another NFT, right? Because you're just taking the NFT, you're going onto the collab manager or whatever, how is it called, on the Discord, you're verifying your wallet, and then you're joining that community, right? But how do you actually get out of that zone but still being in your community? And the solution for that, and what we created, was actually Arcadia, right? Which is layer 2 for NFTs. Some people call it a cross IP. It's a game where you can play with your PFP. So in this way, you're able to interact with other communities as well. And besides interacting, competing against them. Just as a brief introduction, right? So that's just if you're getting to marketing, though, there's a lot to actually talk about, right? First of all, I believe that it's totally different when you're looking at marketing to from marketing is somehow about building a brand, right? And how I look at it is that there are two ways to build a brand. First of all, it's like a personal brand when you're promoting yourself as a human being, right? Or as on only a human. And then the second one is actually when you're building a brand as in an organization. And these two ways are pretty. They have two different ways to do them, right? And yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but just as a short introduction, this is it about Arkadia. And also, um regarding the storytelling and what you said, Edwin, it's we've been actually um going on the storytelling NFTs and creating a lore around the park for like I think it's been already 6 months now, actually, and it's been working pretty good. And people started to. It's much easier to communicate what you want to do and where your NFT and your product is heading if you do it in a lore manner, right? And in if you're telling stories, people are more keen to explore your product and they're more likely to engage with it if it's in a not childish way but friendly way. And this is what how we are actually really basing all most of our marketing on.
Yeah, I think one thing that I definitely enjoyed watching you guys create from a marketing perspective has been the inclusiveness of other projects as well, right? And initially hinting towards having the Hellcats included in your park, right? Then giving a little bit of a teaser into the Rekt Wolf being part of the park, and then now also giving previews and sneak peeks of the defenders and how now they're entering the portal. And so yeah, I definitely think that inclusion of other projects makes it easier, right, for others to want to be involved and to pay attention, because you are adding value to their collections as well, but then also doing it in a friendly way, right, with animations, with graphics, with the copywriting, right, with a good storyline added to all of those different media. Um, yeah, go ahead.
So getting back to what you said before about the fact that you have to give value and to build a game, I don't really believe that you actually have to build a game. You have to build a product that people enjoy using, either if it is a game or a 2D game or a newsletter, right? Or a NFT calendar or whatever. That's still a product that you're having that people love to engage with, and that's what we believe it's important to focus your marketing on something that you are willing to provide, even if that's value or eh, obviously it has to be value, right? But even if it's a product from a networking side or a product from a game perspective, right? You got my point. And also regarding what you said, I don't really want to pivot too much from the topic from today. But what's super important into the partnership that we're building in Arcada and with the NFT communities that we're partnered up with is the collaboration between the teams, right? Between the founders and between the teams that are working. That I love having meetings with people that are sharing the same vision and they're like coming with the most retarded ideas. Sorry, my excuse my French, but they're like so great at the same time, right? And I love working with people that share similar vision and also enjoy what they're actually building. And yeah, just wanted to shout out, like most like definitely Hellcats and Rekt Gang are killing it on that point.
Yeah, I think we're in a space where creativeness is being rewarded to the max, right? Like if you are able to come up with some new ways to have fun, right? That's initially kind of what we touched on. That attracts people because we are kind of, we're all living in this echo chamber and Twitter, and if we're able to create some kind of avenue through a different format through memes, right? Just having competitions around that and being creative enough to come up with an event that brings your community together for a specific topic. I think it's what makes your project unique, right? You mentioned the product, having something that people want to interact with and engage with, and also that you as a team is having fun with. But yeah, I think there's obviously a lot of layers that go into that. But Ghost, I do want to pass it to you because Rekt Gang, you guys are one of the projects that likes to have fun and likes to create events around memes. And we've done some of these events with you guys on OnePlanet while we're doing the migration from Terra. And so I'm curious about how you guys go about creating your events and any marketing plans that you guys develop to get your community to participate.
I think first and foremost, what makes it easier to get the engagement and get that marketing effect is the ties we have made within the community. So whenever we come up with a contest, let's say like El Torero that's going on now, or you have like the cupcakes from Arkadia, it's really easy to get the family together and compete in any type of situation. But you need that base. It's similar to like what Dave and Tony were talking about, Twitter followers. Once you get a base underneath you, you can project out and get that instant feedback.
Yeah, definitely. And also like keeping it simple, right? Like as you're saying, like the cupcake idea was super simple. It was with the game, it was just playing, collecting cupcakes, and then eventually being able to have a leaderboard, and from there have winners and getting airdrop. Like it was just an easy way to engage, to play, to have fun, and then knowing that there was a reward of cupcakes at the end, and they were gonna have some value to the game.
And like you mentioned, keeping it simple enough that someone can read it or someone else can interpret it and help each other out. Simple mechanics help out a lot, and we'll go back and forth in the council chat. Hey, one of us has an idea on a certain thing, draft out, okay, this is what we're talking about, but we'll pitch in and say, no, this is too complicated. Okay, now it's fine. It's simple, easy to understand.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of that also takes experimentation, right? And trying things out and learning from other events that maybe you guys put a lot of energy into and there wasn't good ROI, there wasn't good engagement, or it just didn't feel right. But that does come with experience. You guys just had your 1 year anniversary, so you've had a long time to experiment with different events and different chains and different projects and communities. And so yeah, I think part of that is just trying things out as well. I do want to kind of go a second layer on this similar topic here, and that is around metrics, right? Like we talked a bit about Twitter followers, but I'm curious about what metrics you guys are looking at in order to measure like a ROI of your marketing strategy. I don't know if anybody here wants to start.
I'll jump on that one. I think like the easiest way to do that is when you implement a second channel, because you never really truly know where you're at, how many people are still about, what's going on with that initial buy-in, especially of Twitter metrics. They've been all over the place for a long time. I'm hoping they get sorted out a bit now. But so for me, like I really looked at that in terms of buy-in to my blog, and having like getting a conversion of over 1% of my followers onto my blog was a big target of mine, and I've achieved that, and I've held that. and I'm at about a 40% open rate off of that blog. So like my most engaged followers, supporters, however you want to phrase it, are the people that are able to get that dedicated content from me. And I think that's kind of the ratios that I'm looking at to hold and maintain, and to know that I'm putting out content that is continuing to add value. And as more people get into that, hopefully that value retains over to them as well. So I don't look too much at those big Twitter numbers. I don't look too much at the visibility of individual tweets unless I'm maybe hosting a giveaway or trying to get a thread out there or something like that. I tend to look at how I convert them into my brand further down the line, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, right? Because at the end of the day, we know that Twitter has its own algorithm and it's its own kind of centralized platform. And so having a second avenue through a direct to consumer newsletter, for example, it's a great way to, as you're saying, really find who your super fans or who your true fans are that really want to know, in a deeper level, what's going on in your world. So that's a really good point. Go ahead, Arkadia.
Yeah, so I really love what you mentioned, Dave. For us, for example, how we actually look at it is that, and one thing that actually works a lot right now is the reach. So you can actually see a lot of the reach that the new posts have, right? So you can actually look at the reach and how many people it reached. That's a nice analytic that we, and personally I love looking at it. And then whenever you're looking to market anything, it has to start from like how do you put it out there in the market, and then like what's the end goal, right? What's the call to action? For example, if you want to have if you have a newsletter, right, then people are gonna join are gonna see your newsletter, maybe they're gonna read it, but what's the call to action there? To subscribe. They're just gonna have to put in their email or whatever it is, and then you're gonna have to subscribe to that, right? So that's the call to action there. For example, what we did, we're gonna have a mint on 20th of March, right? A call to action for us is that we've created a wire list that is incredibly easy to get into, and that was our call to action. You just have to sign in with your Twitter, Discord, and with your wallet, and that's it, right? And this is super easy for us to see and track how many people are interested in actually minting, right? Even if they're not even if they didn't have to grind or they didn't have to focus a lot on um, knowing the project, but the tiniest interest that they showed, right? That they have to put in the time for like 1 minute. It takes 1 minute to do that, but you still have to put in the effort to do that 1 minute, right? So that's also important. Call to actions. I love call to actions.
Yeah, and that's where the strategy comes into play, right? Because you're being proactive in the sense that you're planning out something in the future that you hope has a return for you. And that's where the call to action comes into play. That transition, as you're saying, of really finding out who's interested. And similarly to what Dave said, is like a lot of them could be interested, but there's a small percentage that are actually going to really purchase or really pay attention and read the full newsletter and engage with it. So there's a whole kind of pipeline there from beginning to end, right? Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to add that summary in, right? And Twitter's a short form like platform. Like people aren't on Twitter to read massive essays. Like they're just not. So like having your tweets set out in a way that it shows that journey really clearly. Like what are you offering? What do you want someone to do? And go maybe have them split up by some emojis, or maybe have a GIF that highlights your point, or an advert that tells people exactly what's going on as a poster, and get that all in one tweet. And it's particularly good when you can see that poster in the banner in a spaces like Arkadia's above. But you can wrap that whole journey simple, to the point, visual, all in one tweet, and have a call to action. And if you can do that on a tweet, it'll just help your journey. So like break it up, break it into 1, 2, or 3 points if you're trying to promote something, and keep it as simple as possible. It will help a lot.
Yeah, I'll pass it on to Ghost. I see him unmute himself recently. But just to finish, like a thought there that I had is that it's I think it creates a more fun experience when you do create a video, right? Or even a graphic and explain it there, and then also have like the instructions and the call to action in the words. Um, it makes it more visually appealing, of course. But I think just as far as like branding goes, being able to add like your art as a PFP project or in general, right? We're in the NFT space. Anytime that you can have your logo, anything in your marketing is going to help get people that are not aware of your project to start to see it from the retweets or from the engagement that you're getting from your current community and spreading it to their own communities. So I think that's a fun experiment there as well to see like what works, right? What catches people's attention as a video, what kind of video, short, long form, gameplay, or then just with graphics, right? And what you can put, how much of sneak peeks you can add to a graphic. Ghost, did you want to add to this as far as metrics go?
No, I lost my thought.
For sure, no worries. Yeah, like just one that I was thinking of is Department 77 earlier. I think it was last week actually. They released a sneak peek, just a silhouette of their upcoming Zulu collection, right? But just that alone, and then that was the graphic, and then on the wording, it said the first male droid in the project, and so in my head, I was like, I didn't even know that we didn't have any male droids, and then I went back and I looked at the NFTs that I held, and yeah, they were all women. So it was just interesting to like visually get a silhouette, and then also with the wording, understand and comprehend more of what they were putting together. But yeah, Matic, man, I don't know if you have any thoughts here as far as like metrics go. Is there anything that you're paying attention to?
Yeah, I think they hit the nail on the head, Edwin. Some of the engagement metrics, not just the reach, and I do like some of the new tools that Twitter has implemented in the last couple of months. And so those are some things that I'm looking at, like the number of views and even like the Twitter Spaces. I think we're talking about marketing strategies. Dave, I think he's already touched on it, would attribute some of his path to 30,000 or a lot of it just being just consistent in those Twitter Spaces, just day in and day out, and just people hear you. They they pop into your space and they see up at the top, hosting or co-hosting. Just think those are so important. And I do like, Edwin, I do like to look at the analytics when a space ends. Not only how many people came through, but just a lot of those analytics I think are important. Some good metrics to look at.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. At the end of the day, like we're putting a lot of time and energy into hosting Twitter Spaces, right? And even just our tweets that we're putting out. So we want to see the growth, because sometimes if we don't see the growth, then maybe we need to think of different strategies, right? Experiment, try something different, and pivot and see what else is catching someone's attention. That way, we're not just doing the same thing that people are not interested in. But yeah, so that's some good topics on metrics there. Another topic that I wanted to touch base on here is on frequency, right? There's a lot of noise in this space. There's a lot of giveaways, and so I'm curious about how you guys feel with frequency. Is posting once or twice a day enough? Is it too much? What kind of posts are you thinking about? Like, are threads something that you should be more focused on? Like, and if that is true, is it one thread a week, two threads a week? So I'm just curious about like the frequency and like how much is too much or how much is not enough there. Anybody want to start here?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I think the first thing that the individual needs to focus on is deciding what's the purpose. Is it my purpose to create these thoughtful threads? Is it my purpose to create memes? Is it my purpose to do anything else? Once you figure out your purpose, then you start figuring out, okay, the frequency in between. So if I'm doing these long, thoughtful threads, I need to keep them short and concise and maybe once or twice a week. With the recent Twitter algorithms, your feeds are all over the place. So you might miss up on a lot of things if you don't have notifications on. But then you don't want to get blasted every few minutes for different projects and different things going on. But if I'm a meme master, maybe a few times, maybe depending on the situation.
Yeah, I definitely like that point of like really knowing what you want to do, right? And diving in on that. And I think it depends on like, yeah, if you're into memes, there's probably more expectation that it's just free flowing, right? It's just like whenever a trend comes up, whenever an interesting subject comes up, any thought that comes up, like there's memes going to come around on those topics. But then if you're putting a more thoughtful, value adding thread for education or information on a new project, then having some time to digest that uh, would make more sense as well. Go ahead, Matic man.
Yeah, I just think maybe prioritizing quality over quantity. When I first started Edwin, just trying to produce content on Twitter for Polygon, I thought it would be most important that I put out like 20 or 30 tweets a day and just like flood my timeline with a lot of information. But I think that quality, like, some people say like one really good thread a week is awesome for, as far as from a content perspective, can bring more value to those who are, following your account. And so I just want to say, just prioritize quality over quantity.
Yeah, I like that. And something that I was thinking about too in regard to that same idea is that one thread, one quality thread with 10 tweets, that's already 10 tweets in a week, let's say, right? So if you can add enough value to it and continue to maybe share with different communities throughout the week, like that definitely could have a lot of impact in your engagement, right? As opposed to having like a daily single tweet. So just another way to kind of think of the frequency there as well. I don't know if Dave or Arkadia, if you guys want to add to the frequency there.
Well, from our end, Madman said it perfectly. So we're definitely focusing on quality content over quantity content. So if we in a day we feel like, okay, like this is not good enough, we're not gonna post it. So that's how we do it in our team. And just a hack, and what we saw that it works right now with the actual algorithm that changed, is replies, right? That's why giveaways work so well, because you have to reply a lot. And besides posting on your timeline, make sure to go and reply to big accounts. Make sure to reply to GMs, because that way, if there's a tweet that just got posted, then you're gonna have the reach to your reply as big as the reach of that post. So take that in consideration, because it's a new algorithm, and it really works.
Yeah, I agree with that. And a reply is a tweet, right? So it adds to your production there. I did want to check with Dave in this topic because I know that he's been vocal about it in the past.
Yeah, and I'll have a different perspective, as many of you all know. I mean, I've put 70,000 tweets, which includes retweets out there, in that growth to 30,000 in 18 months. So, maybe quantity isn't all that bad. It depends. You need to, like Go said, right? You need to know your end goal. replies at the moment, just quickly, whilst they're massive, and I'll come back to the end goal bit very shortly, but replies are massive. Elon's he's offered content or income back via the adverts, and they kind of show up on replies essentially. If you've got time to like or retweet, you've got time to throw an emoji or a GIF, and it will help you and the person out that you put that reply on. It is definitely working at the moment. In terms of like Twitter, again, it's got to fit to your brand. I offer a lot of support. It's what I do. We have a free to speak spaces. So for me, it makes sense to offer a lot of retweets to people, to offer a lot of support. And I'm, wear my heart on my sleeve when I do this. So I tweet in the moment. I don't schedule very many tweets, if any. A lot of it is kind of what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. Sometimes not just like directly those emotions. They're not necessarily good to share. But certainly it wraps into the brand that I've built and the trust that I'm trying to portray and that I want to show. And I want to be genuine. I think it makes a difference in this space. And for all that we want to work in a trustless environment with things like Bitcoin, I think we need that human interaction and trust behind that. So again, for my brand, tweeting 70,000 times in 18 months has done me particularly well. But I reply to as many tweets or as many responses as I get in that as well. So there's some other little things that build that number up that aren't just retweets and random thoughts.
Yeah, and I think that also highlights the different types of tweets, right? That we can make. It's the threads, it's the single dots in one tweet, it's the retweets, it's the quote retweets where you're putting your opinion into somebody else's content, it's the replies. There's so much that we can do, and I guess exploring those and just having a variety of different ways to do that is important as well. Last kind of question that I have here. We got 13 minutes left in the space. If anybody wants to share anything around marketing, please feel free to come up. But just thinking about the future here, what do you guys think is important as far as storytelling goes in, I guess, Twitter? We can look at Twitter, but also maybe exploring or experimenting in other platforms. Do you guys still feel like the storytelling in Twitter is the best route to go to because this is where all the Web3 people are? Or do you feel like there's other platforms that are going to be beneficial for all projects in Web3 to explore as well? So the reason why I'm asking is because Pudgy Penguins, for example, they have a huge brand, an account on Instagram, and they are producing two kinds of content. One is an animation video, and the second one is a slide show of their PFP along with some positive words, right? And so just wanted to see if any of you have any thoughts around a platform or storytelling. Yeah, if any of you want to go first. Now I'm gonna popcorn pick here like I'm back in high school.
All right, I'll do it. I'll save everyone's blushes. But no, it's. I think it comes down to your time, Edwin. At the end of the day, and where you want your focus to be. If you can recycle the same content on different platforms and you can stick to your brand ethos on different platforms, make sure you got time for your replies, time to engage with people, and make sure you're sticking to how you want to be seen, then make time for those other platforms. It's not something I've got time for. I tried to push on Instagram a little bit earlier this year, a little bit more with like photography and some longer format written stuff, and I just didn't have time to engage the way I wanted to. So for me, it's Twitter all the way. But again, you got the budget, you got the resources. Like, why would you limit yourself to one platform? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point, that it does take more time and effort as well, because sometimes just copying and pasting what you put on Twitter to LinkedIn or Instagram, it's not enough, right? You need to actually make it more context specific towards the platform that you're making it for. Um, yeah, Arcadia, I'm gonna popcorn pick you here, Vic. Any thoughts on this? Are you guys looking to uh, other platforms since you are making a game as well? Are you going to be using Twitch to stream or YouTube?
Okay, so definitely when we're looking at the game, Twitch, YouTube, Kick right now is popping. All these platforms for streaming definitely we can use. Discord is still gonna be a thing. For example, I don't have an Instagram. I think I deleted it like 1 year and a half ago. And then I'm not sure if how is that gonna play out with NFTs. I saw that actually they implemented some NFTs, and then you can actually see that those are NFTs, right? So that's pretty cool. Also, Polygon is the one that's you're gonna be able to mint NFTs on Instagram. So I love that. Also, what's one platform that people are kind of missing out on is Reddit. I used to stay on Reddit a lot, spend a lot of time there, and people are still talking about like back then. The Reddit guys were so crazy, like they were definitely fighting Bitcoin, fighting all cryptocurrency. But after the last bull run, that Reddit changed, and they're all definitely people that are bullish on crypto and that are talking about cool NFT projects and all that. So that would be one other platform, and I think that's kind of it for now. I'm gonna say if I find any uh, anyone else. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, thank you, Vic. I agree with you. I think that Reddit has a lot of potential to attract more people into NFTs and into Web3 in general because they've taken that step already and it's been very successful for them with their digital collectible avatars. I do want to just share a couple of comments here. So Department 77, one of their comments says frequency and consistency is key in marketing because you need two things to succeed: luck and ability. Luck will create opportunities, and then you need the ability to seize them. And the more frequent and consistent you are, the more likely it is that luck will strike. And I love that. Go ahead, Dave.
I just want to add like one final thought from me, and it's the people aspect of Web3 and crypto, and that's what like people want to see the story behind the person. They want to see the passion. They want to see that there's too many times corporations have been faceless and people don't get that buy-in, and I think it's massive whether you're a project, whether you're an individual building a brand. I think having personality and a little bit of vulnerability and letting people in a little bit is absolutely huge to wrapping a traditional marketing model into a Web3 or crypto model.
Yeah, and also another comment here that I really like from Department 77. He says, also remember that Twitter is not a community, it's a funnel. The people you're attracting with your tweets are the ones that will join your community. So make sure your tone and language aligns with your project's values and mission. And I really love this because it's true that when you're posting on Twitter, everybody there's so many people that sees it, right? And everybody, there's a lot of impressions, and like looking at the impressions that you get compared to the people that actually engage with it through liking, retweeting, or sharing a comment. That is a big difference most of the time. Go ahead, Matic, man.
I'm just listening to those quotes that you read from Straylight. Man, those are incredible. I don't know if they're all original. I think they are, man. This guy is so high level. And I was just thinking, Edwin and Dave, like there's a lot of people in our space that I hope they get a platform because they have so much value they could add to, this space. Just very high level people, and I see Gore like from Little Bits World. These guys are just incredible people, high level. And I hope that they have the platform that they can share all the knowledge they've gained over the years. So thank you, Straylight. That was incredible, man.
Yeah, I think Straylight is half man, half cyborg from what I've seen. but definitely shout out for those comments. All right, we got 5 minutes left. If there's no other questions, then I'll just go around and just get some last thoughts from you guys on this topic, and we'll close off the space. Dave, any last thoughts here?
No, just like really dig down to what you want to achieve and then work out how your personal values, your brand values wrap into that, and then message that way on Twitter. And I've shared my insight in a little article up the top on giveaways. If anyone's interested, go read it on Blockster. That's all I got, Edwin. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. Matic, man, any last thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think Edwin, just be ready to pivot, especially in Web3. Things move so quickly and the trends change quickly. There's some principles that never change, and there's some hard work and consistency, but be willing to pivot if you need to in marketing strategies.
Yeah, 100%. Arkadia, any last thoughts from you?
Yeah, definitely. I believe that it's super important to feel how you and see how you actually make people come to you, and more important than that, it's actually to see how you keep them when you're preparing some marketing content. And also it's always incredibly important to focus on adding value to the people that come to you, right? So you'll never see someone that comes to you without you giving value of any kind.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Ghost, any last thoughts from you?
Yes, in Web3, things are changing rapidly. Attention spans are decreasing. So the more concise and the accurate you are, the greater your reach will be. So don't go for the shotgun method and try to fire hose all these interactions.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I think, from our end, one thing that we try to do with our marketing with OnePlanet is our goal is to ultimately give exposure to the projects that we partner with, right? And creating fun and engaging ways to not only their current community, but also new people to be aware of what innovation they're pushing, what new event they're creating. We have some cool stuff coming up with Rekt Gang that I think is going to be fun. Arkadia, of course, is having their burning ritual coming up on the 20th. And so, yeah, to me, that's the fun part about this space is, as Vic mentioned, just talking to people, right? And seeing what kind of ridiculous ideas they have and then putting them together into a package that creates a fun experience and lets people have fun and enjoy the moment. But thank you all for your time today and for sharing your experience and your strategies that you use. Shout out to the listeners for hanging out with us as well. If anybody has any questions about any of the people up here, definitely reach out to them. A lot of them have experience with projects or with their own personal brands, so they can share with you some ideas there as well. But yeah, thanks everyone. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks for joining us for The Landing, OnePlanet's weekly meeting space. Please join us again next week at the same time.